get out of this bed. So Eileen, who had done all the planting and watering and weeding anyhow, would go out in the tiny garden and dig up the smallest potatoes in Ireland. All because Jamie was too lazy to dig a large garden and had no money to buy a potato seed. Then poor Eileen wrenched her back and was laid up in her bed. St. Bridget and the Virgin Mary herself must have smiled on Eileen O'Rourke, the village woman said. Why, it's the first rest she's had since she married Jimmy O'Rourke. That's a little Irish humour for you lads. We like to go on and on and on like a runaway train.
Just keep a reading there, Scotty.
That's Scottish.
I'm Scottish. He's Irish.
Scottish bastards.
Stupid American.
With Eileen in bed, Jamie began to worry. No Eileen to dig meant no praties all winter. No praties meant no food. Oh, poor me, well, Jimmy. I'll starve to death. I'd best go to church and confess to Father O'Malley. There's no telling how soon old death will be a knocking on the door. So even though it was midnight, Jamie set out for the church. He was about halfway down the hill when he heard singing and a tap-tap-tapping sound. Sure, I wouldn't be knowing, Jamie whispered, but I swear it's a leprechaun. And sure enough, sitting in the circle of ferns in the moonlight was a leprechaun singing and hammering tiny nails into the heels of the fairy boots he was making. Jamie knew just what to do. He crept up and grabbed the little man by his coattails. Oh my God. That's so mean and how firm. Let me go, the leprechaun shouted. Not on your life, Jamie said. Not until you show me where you keep your pot of gold.
Oh my God. I'm done. Get me out of here.
There's so many stereotypes.
Now everyone in Ireland knows that leprechauns make boots and dancing shoes for the fairies, who pay them with gold. And everyone knows that if you catch a leprechaun, he'll pay for his freedom with his pot of gold. But this clever leprechaun was cleverer than most. So oh please, Mr. Mortimer, he pleaded. I'm just starting out making fairy shoes and I only have 1 or 2 pieces in my gold pot. Why don't you take a wish instead? Why, what would I wish for? Jamie asked. Me who's about to die of starvation because my wife is sick in bed and can't dig the praties for the winter, and there's such punny praties anyhow. Well, said the leprechaun, reaching into his pocket, you could wish for the biggest pratie in the world.
Answer it.
It would last all winter and you wouldn't have to do anything more than plant this seed, water it, and wait. That sounded wonderful to Jamie. Done, he shouted. And as the leprechaun dropped the seed into Jamie's hand, Jamie let out go of his coattails and off the leprechaun scampered.
I even texted him. We're at Barnes & Noble.
When Eileen heard what he had done, she was furious. Jamie O'Rourke, you're not the laziest man in Ireland, but a fool as well. Giving up a pot of gold for a pratie seed.
You know what's the funniest damn thing?
What?
Potatoes don't grow from seeds, they grow from other potatoes. So, what the hell is this?
It's a children's story. It's a children's story. Leave it alone.
They probably plant a pebble.
Have some respect for
The
logic.
man
right?
in the wooden hat. I'll give you a wood.
How does that even work?
I'll give you a wooden and hat.
Keep going.
Well, I'm going to plant the seed and water it, and you'll see, Jamie said. And out he went. And faith, Elaine did see. In no time at all, the biggest, finest potato plant had sprouted out of the ground, followed by the potato itself. It was so big it pushed up not only all the dirt in the garden, but the garden shed and the corner of the cottage as well.
Oh, baby.
Well, surely now it's ready to dig, Jamie said proudly.
Oh.
Look at that giant Ted.
Dig that thing.
Looks like the turd that I did last night.
Like read some English stories.
But he could not dig that pratie out of the ground. He got a beam and a big rock and tried to pry it out. He pushed and he pushed, but it wouldn't budge.
That's what she said.
As she was pondering what to do, his neighbor passed by on the way to the village. He couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't wait to tell everyone in the village what he had seen.
That's what she said.
And before you knew it, the hill up to Jamie's was filled with villagers come to see the big potato.
That's what she said.
Well, look, how can one person not see the big potato? Look, you have a house here and a house here. You have a farm here.
There's a sheep on the road.
Where did that come from? They asked. Jamie told him about the lucky night he had caught the leprechaun and how smart he had been. Will you shut up? Why, anyone could have gotten a pot of gold, he bragged, but the biggest pratie in the world, well, that took some doing. Hi, Andy. However, did you outsmart a leprechaun? They all asked at once. Jamie hesitated and scratched his head. We'll help you dig up your pratie, Jamie, if you tell us how to dig. And you did it.
That's what she said.
Can I help you, good sir?
Can you phone reading my lines?
No.
How dare you?
Go find all these books. I'm pretty sure they have some English stories. Go find one and read it in like.
And they grabbed shovels and hoes and started to dig.
Bow wow, they grabbed their hose, alright.
I wonder if one of them had a diamond hole. They dug and they pushed and they shoved until the potato flew up out of his hole. It rolled down the hill faster and faster until it reached the bottom, where it bounced up high and came to a stop, wedged between the stone walls on the other side of the road. Now, what to do now? I think it's stuck there. The pratie is so big that no one, no cars, nothing can get by it. The constable complained to Father O'Malley. How's a body to get in or out of the village? What shall we do? The villagers wailed. Then they all looked at Jamie's and said, "It's your pratie. You'll have to move it out of our way." Well, Aline spoke up. There's more than enough pratie for everyone. Why don't you all take some?
Is this from the classic Irish?
Yes.
So the villagers sawed and chopped and carted off huge pieces of potato while Jamie sat on the stone wall and watched. He's an Irish priest.
Interesting.
No. They're allowed to have that much potatoes.
Go ahead.
I didn't know they were rewarded their
Go
priests with
finish.
such
Right.
potatoes.
All winter long, everyone had potato to eat and eat and eat until no one wanted to see or hear a potato again.
Well, it sucks to be them because they live in Ireland.
What's wrong with potatoes? What's wrong with having nothing but potatoes?
What about the
Love
potato
potato.
guys? I think the story.
I think they just didn't know how
Finish
to cook them.
reading.
In the spring, Jamie said, I saved a potato eye for a seed and it's just about time to plant it. Oh no, the villagers all cried. If you promise not to plant it, Jamie, we'll promise before St. Patrick and all the saints to see that you and Aline always have plenty to cook and eat. We don't want to eat another giant pratie around here. Jamie smiled and agreed. What a perfect life for a lazy man. I need that life. And so you see, darling Aline, Jamie told her, I wasn't such a fool with that leprechaun after all. And Aline had to admit that Jamie O'Rourke was right.
That leprechaun still got his goal, that little jerk.
That bloody leprechaun.
That was probably the most racist, stereotypical story I've ever heard in my entire
Yet it was
life.
gorgeous.
So stereotypical. I myself have seen eating a potato at least once a day.
You're gonna read the book.
That's
Seen
it.
the giant potato yet?
In British.
No,
That's
I have
all.
not.
We're getting out of here before we get caught for something.
I've
even
made
false
a
egg?
giant potato before.